Welcome to Urban Homestead Artists. My name is Kayleen, and what you're looking at right now is one of the many places I've visited recently with Permaculture Group that I've come home absolutely inspired. Every time you get together with other gardeners, and particularly I find chemical-free, organic type gardening inspiring to see what you can actually do and how much plants thrive in that environment. And I come home with lots of ideas, and some of them I can bring into my own garden. This particular garden was in Kilsyth, Victoria, and one of the ingenious things that this lady did was she had a chicken pen out front and back of her property, and the one at the back had a holding section where the chickens would wait to be let out, and she had a pulley system, and you're looking at it right now, and depending on which pulley she pulled up, it would open a gate to small yards for them to graze in, and this enabled her to allow sections to grow back, the vegetation to grow back for the chickens, and gave them, a variety of yards to fossick in without disrupting the vegetable garden. And this, what you're looking at, is her setup. She'd fill that container up there and it would gravity feed into strawberries she had supported on the back fence. So in my video today, we're going to be looking at some areas that I'm actually setting up as sanctuary spaces. One particular area was an unused, very difficult to grow in area that is looking pretty good now, and plants are thriving, the soil's improved, and I've cleaned up a couple of other areas, and the gardens are starting to come together. So I'm hoping in a few months' time you'll have so much to see, and it will be just gorgeous. So I'm starting to look at the creative side of my garden too, and the sanctuary aspect, because the gardens are a sanctuary space and not just for food, and it's not just about improving our soil and a generational thing or health. It is about enjoying your gardens and actually having somewhere to sit and enjoy them and the aesthetics of it. So come and join me today as I work around the garden and show you what we're up to. There's always so much to do in the garden, so it's a great idea to try and find shortcuts. And one of those shortcuts that I use is my chickens. I use them to clean up areas whenever possible. So they're my little lawn mowers. Even though they have a fairly decent sized pen to play around in, we only have a few chooks. We don't have a great deal of chickens anymore. We've decided that 5 is plenty for us. And the girls get to play outside though, but they are very destructive to the garden, so we need to keep them confined within a fence. So I have a fence that can be staked around the areas that I want them to graze, and it's been absolutely brilliant. So I've been moving that around as I'm cleaning up, and they have been helping me. This is the first area today that we'll be cleaning up. Well, I did it over several days, but you're seeing it in one video. So there's overgrown passion fruit vine there that needs to clean up, and I'll be going up the alleyway there as well as that area. But before I do, this part gets fenced off for the chickens. But you'll see some things on the ground there. I needed to rescue some plants. I have this walking stick kale here that's getting a bit old in the tooth, and it's kind of growing, not growing straight, but it's dropped babies. The seeds have dropped to the ground, and I've got some volunteers growing below it that I want to dig out. There's also strawberries I wanted to dig out of there, and a curry plant, and I need to put that in a pot anyhow for the summer. So I have been protecting it, or trying to protect it, with that basket, so we don't step on it. going back and forth to collect eggs, but they've had a bit of a nibble on. But these are going to be dug out, and we'll rescue them and see if I can grow them elsewhere. Now, when I pulled the curry plant out, the curry tree, it's in here. And it's in amongst a lot of very stubborn grass. And the poor thing has been a bit pot bound. And so its roots are very tight in there. So that took a little bit to get loose. So I worked on that and cleaned it up. I found some bulb in there too. I don't know if there's a jonquil or something in there. Oh, it's starting to grow now, and we'll see what happens with that. I left it in there to see, or left it with it, and to see what that might be. So, I mean, it's pretty simple. You just dig up the little seedlings. I took a fair amount of soil with them to disrupt them as least as possible. Pulled out the weeds, and so that I can plant them somewhere else. And they're the strawberries. The strawberries are really entangled in the grass. This grass is absolutely horrible. It runs across the place for miles, and it's coming in from the neighbour's yard. But fortunately for me, I spoke to the neighbour the other day, and they have put weed mat all the way down their line of fence now, to try and keep their fence line weed free. So I will be able to pull this out thoroughly now, and know that it's not going to come back, and I'll be able to eventually get on top of it, which is just such good news for me. I can't tell you how thrilled I was to hear that. This grass grows everywhere you see a little root there, all the way along. It will just sprout up out of the ground all over the place, but it does tend to run, and it'll run across the ground too. So often when you pull it up, you just pull miles of it up. So I pulled away enough that I could see where the plants were to dig out, and it left a little bit of open ground for the chickens to start, because my chickens seem to be quite fussy. They when it's so thick with grass, they don't tend to scratch in it. They're just weird. They just wait for me to make a hole for them, and then they're happy and they get in there and they start digging. So I dug out as many strawberries that I could. I've got different sorts of strawberries growing. I've got alpine berries. I've got pine berries and wild berries, and just your regular strawberries in different varieties. I've got about 2 or 3 different varieties. I can't tell you what they are. But they're the regular ones, which I'm really trying to multiply because they give the bigger berries, and they're just more prolific. I grabbed a few more strawberries, and then I was out of there. So this is my haul. Quite a few strawberries in there, and that's my little plants. And I'll take them up the alleyway and plant them underneath a pot that had a walking stick kale that's looking a bit tired too. So this area gets fenced off. There we go, fenced off. And that will keep the chickens in there chewing away and digging away, and while I clean up next to it. Now we have that area all cleaned up. I'm moving up into the alleyway. Now this alleyway, I have a fair bit growing in the alleyway now. I've got, what have I got? Yacon, okra, there's some kale. I've got a choco, which has finally started fruiting after 3 years of attempting to get that growing. And I'm popping the strawberries that we've dug up here, and the kale, the baby kale. So that's all going in amongst here. We've got pepinos and comfrey mainly in here, with a little bit of a few violets, and we'll pop them in amongst that to fill in the gaps. They'll be a great ground cover, and they will help improve the soil, keep the weeds down. Now I have actually mulched the gardens in this area, but I've never mulched the paths, and the paths are quite messy all the time because they do grow a lot of weedy grasses. Not the really bad ones so much, but a lot of weedy grasses, and they need to be mulched. So I don't have to be weeding that every probably 3 months. I've got to go on my hands and knees and weed all that. And so let's make lighter work of that. Beautify this area. I've got some statues to go in here, and I'm going to move some things around, clean some things up, cut some things back, plant some things, and make this a nice sanctuary space. It's a nice little private space at the side of my home. So let's do that. This I can hardly get through there. Looks nice and foresty, but all of the asparagus, some have gone to seed. The female plants have gone to seed. I've saved the seed and planted those. But it's time to cut this right back to the ground and clean this up, and we'll be able to get through here for the winter months. Give it freshen up, and get some compost going, get some more mulch with all this green waste. I'm probably going to have to get bigger tools than a secateur too, because some of my asparagus is twice this size, so it got really thick. It's very healthy. This is my first baby choco, the plant has actually happily climbed up into the neighbour's tree. So yeah, we're sharing the chocos. But be careful of ants on your chocos. I discovered later some of the fruit missing and ants all over it. So I've sprayed now for ants with a bit of soapy water. And this is the moment I was waiting for. Put my statues in. So we put the birds in. These were my birthday present, and we pop them in, and then I finish off the mulching, and we'll take a look. One of the last jobs I wanted to get done in this area was to refreshen this poor plant. My mother gave me this beautiful plant. I'm not really a cactus person, or succulent person, but this plant throws out the most glorious, huge red flowers. And it was in a pot and didn't have much potting mix or whatever orchid mix in it. So I have mixed the garden mix with the bush mulch, together as a potting mix for it, and give it a good water. It was caught up in the pot too. It was a hanging pot with chain, and you saw me cut it off there. Parts of it were caught in the chain, so I had to cut that off. But what I did in this hanging pot, I forgot to pull out the chain, so I had to go back in there and try and work it out. But yeah, I did. So I got that all freshened up, and I'm hoping that that will be a much happier plant. It was looking quite dry, and even though they don't need a lot of water, I think it was just starved. It just had nothing left in what it was growing in. And what I do with any plants like this, I throw a banana skin in it now and then, and let that rot down and feed it. Though it's autumn, there's been very little rain and it's been quite humid. So after this video was created, in a day or two, it rained and we got our first good soaking. And the cool weather appears to have begun. So it was good timing to get the curry tree out. That needs to be in a pot and needs to be protected from the frost over the winter time, and the little plants need to be in and protected from the birds. This is the time where the blackbirds are notorious for digging up all the mulch, scattering it everywhere. I find I'm sweeping all the time, but those little protections, even though they are just bits and pieces of junk, they work. But now this area is 3/4 done. It's it's managed, and it's beautified a bit more. I still have some ideas for the paving, and there's a section around the corner behind me where I want to build a charming, rustic, artistic potting bench area, which will be fun. So it's time to take a break and rest and just enjoy the area created in just a couple of days. Thanks for joining me. I still have so much to share with you and so much to show you and so much to create together. So more to come in the further videos. But for now, I hope it inspired you a little and helped you bring something home for your garden. But for me, I'm planning this spot right here for my potting bench. Amongst my creative toolkit, I have several years' experience in upcycling furniture, so I'm planning to do something really interesting there. So, upcoming project later. But for me, it's bye for now.